Game 2 is now ready. We're going to pick some bans for that as well, and we'll see how this one works out. Hopefully Noble, whatever that draft is, let's just not take a level 1 fight against a Thanatos Serqet.
That's been the big key. Just let's try and secure our own buffs on the right-hand side, maybe get some speed buffs in the early game where it's more impactful, and then we can try and win the game from there.
Zeus, Ratatoska from Noble, and Luminosity gonna ban Tough here?
I would. I mean, maybe not, though. I mean, maybe they were thinking that they could really just snowball through the early game and not allow Stealth to get a big game-changing ultimate early on before Thoth is really impactful. But clearly, they are still worried about it. 3 mages banned away between the 2 teams, and it's going to be Sylvanus locked in for Noble.
Surprised by the Sylvanus over the Izanami, considering Izanami was so highly prioritized in the banning stages there. There's Izanami back from Luminosity then, so Sylvanus
could be
greater than Izanami.
Could be the Cupid pick here for Wowy, though. We've seen time and time again, once Izanami gets locked in, the other hunter almost immediately wants that Cupid, especially with that Serqet again for Mask. I think the Cupid would be the right pick here.
Poseidon Cupid would be great against these two already.
Cupid, yeah, right away.
I can see that. I agree with Cupid, but Poseidon as well in the mid lane against Serqet is fantastic for keeping him pinned.
Could be very, very strong. I also wouldn't mind to see something like a Susano to try and match that mobility out of Mask and some good early game damage. But you were right on point. Cupid, Poseidon, the 2 picks for Noble.
It's just great cripple control the whole fight as well. You burn beads with one, where you're going to get to burn beads with no beads to be burnt on the other one, so you can get the confirmed damage off. Luminosity, though, need to answer back here. Mid laners a lot available right now. Gonna go with the Sobek, though. More than likely for Jeff.
Yeah, it could be for Jeff, though. It also could be for Scary in that solo lane, but I imagine up against the Sylvanus, you've got the healing reduction on Sickening Strike. Sylvanus, a big immobile tree. Once he gets plucked back in by Sobek, he has a tough time getting out of it in the middle of a team fight.
Well, now it's over to Noble as well for what they're going to ban here. More than likely look towards mids. No, or is it solos? Well, it's going to be solos.
Looks like it could be solos. Hercules still pretty strong right now. 40% ban rate. That's very, very high for the warrior there. Owilish going to be the other ban, trying to get away from that synergy with Sylvanus in the knockup, as well as pulling Serqet back in from ambush, as well as Izanami with the fadeaway.
Final ban here for Noble Esports, and it will give some inkling of what Luminosity are going to do in the mid lane as well, because I think we'll see BaRRaCCuDDa go with the Izanami. I don't know if we're going to see Baskin go with the Hunter just yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He could.
He could. Feel like it should be right.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the raw ban here from Noble, though, and it is going to be a mage in the middle lane for Baskin. It's going to be that Scylla.
She doesn't wear shoes, by the way. She's got no legs.
Yeah, I guess.
No
it's
legs.
Like tentacles.
She's got no feet.
So we're nerfing Scylla. Is that what you're saying?
We are?
Never. No.
Batz has been picked up for Noble Esports, so Chapo going to be going with that one more than likely, unless it's going to go solo lane and we see something crazy again in the final role.
I don't think so. It's going to be Wukong. Nice, standard, simple for Uzzy, going to be able to have a safe lane matchup there. We didn't see the Wukong last time around because he doesn't really do that well up against Thanatos because of the fact that you can get your 72 transformation silenced out very, very easily. But I like this Wukong pick, just giving something to Uzzy that's safe in lane that can make an impact in the mid game.
Erlang Shen is the final pick for Luminosity. It's flexible again because we've seen this in the support role and JeffHindla has run that in support.
Yeah.
But I do predict it's going to be Erlang Shen the solo.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, without the long range cripple on the pin, remember that has been removed. It is now just a root. You aren't going to be able to see people from a distance as reliably as you used to be. So I imagine that's going to be in the solo lane.
Really awkward game for Luminosity this one as well when I look at Noble's comp though, because double cripples are very impactful. A lot of beads burners is what I'm really looking to say here on the side of Noble's roster. But if anything, Luminosity last game looked really solid. If they can just get off to a good start like they did last time, we'll have the same sort of story.
Yeah, I don't think that we're going to see Uzzy immediately just into the lane. He's not looking to fight anyone in the jungle. He'll fight the air in your lane.
But then again, Chapo does have crit in his build at level 1 because of his passive, right?
No.
Right?
No. Yeah,
like,
I mean, he does. He does.
2 RNG crits, you know? Like, you never...
No.
Round 2?
No.
No. And that's what should have happened game 1.
Exactly.
But
walk away.
So now everyone's going to position themselves. Keep an eye on where the supports start as well. It's always interesting to see what happens in the lane pressure scenario. At the moment, it's Wubbn on Sylvanus versus Jeff on Sobek. But their lane partners here are very interesting because the other one's better than the other as well. So I think this is a stalemated lane, I want to say, overall, in terms of like lane clear. But it looks
I'd imagine it to go to Izanami because Sylvanus cannot get up into the lane to use those AoE auto attacks up against Sobek because of the threat of being plucked back in. And that's why you see Noble just trying to get these little guys out of the way on these buffs, and they will do exactly that. Both sets of little guys on both the purple buff and the red buff.
Purple for this one as well. Now, this obviously I did a little message earlier on as as well earlier this week, talking about starts to do with duo lane, and that's one of the risks of doing it that way, is that you can be hard pushed and then have the purple buff stolen away, and just send one guy there if you really want to take you on too much. But in the end, it's going to put Noble on the back foot early on. But Luminosity, we're going to look to do that either way anyway.
Absolutely. That's why you pick Izanami, is for her level 1 through, you know, whatever, wave clear. It's just as strong as it gets because she doesn't have to use an ability. It's just part of her passive that her basic attacks pass through everything.
Luminosity win lane pressure on the left-hand side, and they win lane pressure on the right-hand side too, allowing them to steal away the blue buff and now invest into the oracles on the left as well. All good stuff for Luminosity right now. Early lead established.
But Chapo does get his own speed buff on the right-hand side, and it looks like the oracles were split. Wubbn was able to steal one away, getting a little bit of pressure there.
Uzzy and Chapo and a bit of pressure still in that lane, being very respectful to the Erlang, Shen, and Serqet early on. Just want to weather the storm in the early stages, and Luminosity are going to have to either choose to go into that deep in the enemy jungle here for the back harpies, or go and farm their own half. I don't think they like what they saw there, because Chapo had already taken his speed, so they didn't manage to get it themselves.
Chapo still spending time on this right-hand side with Uzzy. There's what we saw for a lot of relegations was that Chapo likes to spend time in the solo lane, getting a solo laner ahead ideally, and then rotating around the map, which has really good for MLC Stealth's playstyle because he likes to be alone in the middle lane. He likes to get that solo farm.
Chapo under pressure again here. Turtle form used by Scary to close the gap as the death bait comes up. Bluestone taken away. Ambush would have been good enough. And actually, I think if Mass would have realized how low he was going to get Uzzy there, you could have continued on that one. But they do get first blood. Chapo falls down there. Thanks for a nice play once again from Scary and Mass.
Just the jungle solo combination for Luminosity seems to be too strong for Noble to handle. Scary able to pick up that first blood. Erlang, Shen, not quite as potent as he once was without that cripple like we mentioned, but still plenty of early pressure in the lane.
He's just not free setup with a cripple. That's the only real thing that changed with Erlang Shen in the grand scheme of things. Having that ranged poke that still deals damage is fantastic, and it still roots, you know? Like, a root still causes a problem, just not as much as a cripple root problem.
Exactly. You're still going to be able to jump away if you're someone like Batz, or use your 72 transformations.
Oh, was he? Poor guy.
Oh,
he wants it.
He wants it so badly. Oh, madness. A little bit off there for Mask. The bull form. Enough movement speed to get Uzzy out of danger.
But now you see the rotation coming in from Noble, looking to catch Luminosity, rotating back through the jungle. They may find JeffHindla, the first one. But Noble's had enough of that already. Like, come on, they're not coming soon. They're all together still. So we'll just go back and continue to follow the time.
And Baskin's been able to just stay safe in this middle lane on the late game Scylla. Again, another late game mage for Baskin in the middle lane.
That seems to be, oh, hang on a second. BaRRa's in a bit of trouble here on the right-hand side here. Absorbs a bit of that damage overall. Trades it back with Wowy. I thought we might see a bit of a harder commit, but talking about hard commits, there's one on Uzzy. That's
just been the game plan for Luminosity, is bully Uzzy in this lane. ScaryD might be in a little bit of trouble. Fear No Evil going to push it back nicely directly into the Kraken. Noble answers back. Chapo picks up Scary.
A good pickup there as well. I was thinking Chapo was just going to give up the chase there. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to farm the wave. It's not going to be possible. But then the Fear No Evil in the right position. Stealth actually held his ultimate and his Whirlpool until he saw the direction that we were going to see ScaryD pushed into. 1-for-1 trade in the end.
That's exactly what Noble needed. Something to get ScaryD off of this roll that he's been on for both games. 2-1 still, but that kill, very, very important for Chapo to jump up in that net worth. Now he's only about 100 gold behind Serqet because of it.
A little bit risky coming out from Noble here again as a look at Stealth's build here. Gone for the Doom Orb, which is a fantastic synergizing item. A lot of damage, a lot of sustain on this in terms of mana sustain anyway. But stacks provide more focus onto you more as time goes on. If you see people on 50 stacks, you're looking to burst them down and keep them pinned back.
Absolutely, the only item that loses its stacks on death, and so you're going to lose a lot of that your potential power if you die. But MLC Stealth is on a pretty mobile mage. Poseidon very hard to hit with abilities from a distance because of that movement speed from his passive. And again, Stealth notorious for how good his positioning can be. So I don't hate the pickup here.
Master stolen away the blue buff from Uzzy one more time on the right hand side. Goes back to lane to continue to farm with ScaryD. And actually, I was going to mention something about Chapo as well, because Chapo in the jungle here, he's his teammate now with Stealth in mid. And the funny thing is that both of these two players have played with Wukong before as their junglers.
They
both know each other's playstyle for the most part. Scary's in trouble.
He's got his taunt off. He's going to be able to get that heal off, I think, just in time. And Mask is coming down. Great reaction time from Scary. Just able to get off that ultimate. Without it, I don't know if he would have survived. Not only because he wouldn't have gotten the heal off right away as soon as he did, but the damage reduction once you pop that as well. Very important.
Bigger picture feature there as well was Luminosity's response time as well. They quickly rotated around to the map with multiple members to make sure he got out. Scary could have survived, but he needed help, and just by presence of them getting there in time allowed him to just walk away back to safety after saving his ult.
Very, very true, and you can see that he's going for what looks to be an aggressive build. Could be a Spirit's Robe. That's what we saw pretty early on a game ago, I believe, for Xaylia in the solo lane. But he's going for these Ninja Tabi, really making use of that Erlang Shen passive, getting an additional stack of damage off every auto attack thanks to his little doggy companion.
Gold Fury is in favor of Luminosity right now after the Oracle's going down, but Wubbn's got a little ward down there just to keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, Luminosity's dual lane is still hanging around here at the moment. Not going to find Wowy, just recognizes it in time. The B currently building towards what looks like it might be Transcendence.
Yeah, this has been the popular start here so far in Season 4. It has, even with the Transcendence rushes, we haven't seen the Transcendence 2 start that we used to see during Season 3 when now it's popular. It's been Death's Toll and Transcendence 1, finishing your boots and then moving towards the Transcendence.
And it's a bit of a trade-off anyway, because Death's Toll gives you a little bit more sustain, a little bit more damage, a little bit more survivability in the lane overall with the extra health. But it does delay the Transcendence a little bit more.
Yes.
However, the Transcendence Tier 2 means you invest more in pots that technically don't go towards your build.
Right.
They just manage your sustain that you're going to need for the lane instead. So it's a risk versus reward, and I can see both sides of the argument. Just, are you going to get that Transcendence online quick enough?
Mask made the rotation here. Wowy did use that Fields of Love. BaRRaCCuDDa very patient. Baskin, though, that Fear No Evil just barely clips the mid laner, and as such, Stealth can't follow up.
And no beat used there by Baskin, very well done. But now Jeff's in trouble over here, forced to use his ultimate defensively, but he eats a lot of that Kraken. Still alive, and Chapo going to go in for the kill. I'm a monster from Baskin. Did a bit of poke, but not enough to bring down a kill as Uzzy on the right. Still trading with Scary D.
Mask barely able to escape as well. Looks like he latched onto someone right as that Kraken came out. Gold Fury getting pretty low, no ultimates on this left-hand side. BaRRaCCuDDa has that Dark Portal. That's the best secure available for either team.
Not just that, but the crush as well. The damage from Scylla is insane for a quick burst of damage.
Scary teleported. He's here.
Wowy, but there's the lack of cripple coming into play. The root hits, but he can still dash away. But now the Gold Fury Oracles, at least, no, it's a Gold Fury as well. Started up here by Luminosity. Wubbn is finding out what's going on. Scary's on zone duty.
No ultimates still. Again, only Dark Portal. And one of the things that we didn't really touch on during this draft, Hindu, is how much sustain Luminosity has to deal with on the side of Noble. You've got Wubbn with the Wisps, and that's the one you really think of, but Cupid brings some solid sustain out of that Hunter role.
And the main reason he brings a lot of sustain from the Hunter role now is because it doesn't consume his passive when he gives them to his teammates. When he drops them hearts, he shares the love, and he doesn't share his passive.
And that's a big key, as well as whenever Wowy's able to finish this Transcendence, that heal stacks, it's affected by your physical power. It scales off your physical power.
So building Transcendence and the like is very good for that.
Exactly, and all of Cupid scaling is phenomenal. I mean, Heart Bomb, it gets scaled twice because of how it hits once and then blows up a second time. And then Fields of Love, very, very high scaling as well. Just building straight up power on Cupid synergizes great with his kit.
We can see at the moment we're talking about healing. It's only 9 minutes in though, so it's less than 1,000 in the game. But that will change as time goes on. If the game does go very deep, you'll start to see Wubbn climb up on those charts as well. But I don't know what he's been maxing either, because that's one thing. He could be going for the Wisp start, but he could be going for the damage start with just his root, because it does a lot in the early game.
It does, and it strips away protections as well, which is extra effective in the early game before anyone is really building any sort of protection. It really strips away that inherent protection very, very well, which can cause you to do that true damage.
Bit of El Clasico Season 3 going on here in the mid lane with 3 members of each team just hanging around waiting to farm up, looking for position. And as Mass was hanging around the right-hand side, now he's gone towards Uzzy's lane once more, looking to pressure out Uzzy, but instead Wubbn is in an awkward spot.
Yeah, he's in the wrong spot right now. There's the Kraken, but he gets plucked out of it, which actually saves Mask's life. Wubbn very, very low.
Oh my god, Jeff's gonna die for that too. That's not fair. Jeff made such a hard play to keep him alive.
Unreal. That is unbelievable.
He knew what he was doing too. Like, Jeff knew that pluck idea was to actually pull him away.
Jeff just, you know what? I've spent a little bit of time with these Luminosity
guys. Do we agree that was like, do we think Jeff knew what he was doing then with that pluck, or was that just luck as well?
Yeah.
I want to give it Jeff.
I'll give it to Jeff.
I'm like 70-30 Jeff.
You know, Jeff always tells me that Mask never gives him the credit he deserves for his sick plays, and we got to give him a little bit of credit here. Gold Fury is going to be secured there. Noble walks away with it. That's a nice win for them, sitting 3-3 in kills, and despite that pick onto Wubbn, the Luminosity invested enough to guarantee that Gold Fury. Noble actually in the lead.
In the lead for now is the question, but how long for? Because they continue to be pressured in certain aspects of the map as well. With an even game so far, nobody have done a very good job of just keeping this for the time being up against, you know, one of the best teams in North America. It's a lot better than the last game, but they're looking to try and do something here, LG, at the Portal Demon.
Wubbn needs to be careful here because it's all him by himself, and that's, yeah, there it is. Noble,
I mean,
just going to give that up.
You're
No
a tree,
reason.
right?
Yeah, no
What are you
reason to
gonna do?
contest that.
If you had Blink, maybe. That's a push as well. Like, I can Blink ult and hope for the best.
Yeah, that's
Force a reset.
that is an optimistic idea to try and get in there because Wrath of Terra doesn't do any damage to objectives.
I'm just saying. Now, I'm saying more to disrupt it and force a reset. Could have happened.
I suppose.
Never know. We just gave Jeff credit for a plug that I'm not 100% certain he knew anything about, really, but same time, that would have worked.
Yeah, but Jeff earned it.
He did.
Have you seen his beard?
I have.
It's wonderful.
Chap on the right looking to contest those Harpies. And don't find him this time around as two members of Luminosity are there. But it did allow Uzzy to push a whole wave in and now try and zone Scary away. And Scary's going to be careful of getting blocks in the jungle here. Scary choosing to trade over farm. A little bit suspect there overall. Could have been a poke damage on Uzzy. And lucky enough, it was a brute minion there in the weave, so we didn't lose any wave either.
Shout outs to the Brute Minion. Always tanking up towers for you nice and really, really well. Making sure you don't lose too much of that gold or experience to the tower. MLC Stealth's had a really, really solid game on this Poseidon. Has no kills to show for it.
Cracker's been solid.
But he's been on part of all 3 kills for Noble. That Doom Orb has been stacked at 50 for quite some time now. Now starting to work towards that Gem of Isolation. That's going to be a big power spike for him. Really accentuates that cripple on the Whirlpool, keeping characters like Baskin on the Scylla, Mask on the Serqet, in that Whirlpool longer, which allows his team to follow up.
And the big key there is Stealth's position has to be on point, especially against a Serqet that can try and dive him in the back line.
Yeah.
Pick him off, force him to beads, force him to Aegis, try and just, if they can kill him once, the stacks are at 25, you know?
Yep.
So it's going to take longer to farm up. Uzzy's in a bit of trouble here on the right.
Not
going
gonna
to
be healing.
regen, but he's going to buy time to look for an escape route.
Just probably waiting for his 72 transformations to be up off of cooldown, and it will be that bird form, getting him out of danger just in time there. Uzzy, only that first death on the right-hand side, and he's been playing very, very well and safe ever since.
But this allows Noble to be a bit more aggressive right now because they know the Serqet ultimate is not available, so they can play up a little bit more now.
It's true, but also it allows Mask to not get crackened whenever he jumps on top of someone's head. We saw how it can kind of work against you earlier on in Game 1 up against Kukulkan, but it's the same sort of deal up against Poseidon.
This trade-off is quite interesting because Scary's quite happy to box in, knowing that he's still got his ultimate available if he needs to regen over here as well. Has enough mana as well just to weather the storm and can go back and get the blue buff on the right-hand side. But he's just going to sit and wait for farm because there's not much else he can really do.
And this is what you do when you condition a solo laner that he's been getting camped in a series, because right there, there's no better time to try and steal away a blue buff than when your opponent is no mana, no health, and very, very low, and you just came back from base with your teleport. But because of how often Mask has been there, Uzzy's just afraid to leave his tower, and rightfully so. Can't go up and contest that blue buff.
Well, this man on your screen as well, Wowy's a silent player of this team as well. Probably the most overlooked player on the team compared to the rest of them for different reasons. Not because he's a bad player at all, but he's always up against some of the toughest opposition in the SPL in terms of hunters in North America, which is a really contested role when you look down the list of them overall. But he's holding his own still up against BaRRaCCuDDa, who's got a small level lead over him for the time being. But that Transcendence is nearly fully stacked now. Iqbal online. Cupid's going to start to swing.
This is a perfect time for Wowy to rotate and try and make an impact in the team fight. Like you mentioned, he's almost finished with that Transcendence. He's finished off that Iqbal. Is a big power spike for him. And this is great timing for that Gold Fury to respawn, because that's where you really want Cupid, is in the team fights where that AoE ultimate can really make an impact.
Uzzy trading with Scary D again. Scary D's ultimate now on cooldown, and Uzzy didn't panic or use his in response. He just knew he could walk away from the safety. But Batz in the jungle, looking for BaRRaCCuDDa, for pressure on Stealth, I should say. Still going to find the ultimate, but he takes a lot of damage from the Wisps and Stealth. Stealth's still alive.
The cripple!
And there's the cripple from Wowy that comes up big. One down on the side of Luminosity.
Chapo.
And in goes Chapo.
Blinks in, doesn't have any fear, no evil, but is just going to get a little bit of damage onto JeffHindla. This is perfect timing for Noble as Gold Fury right about to respawn.
Not in time, though, because he's going to spawn the same time as Mask comes back up. So it will buy Luminosity a minute to gather their forces to defend against this Gold Fury. And that's why you see Noble turn their attention towards mid lane for a second. Scary round the back. No ultimate, remember, for a while. Noble are trying to force the tier 1 tower.
Nice Aegis there by Wowy. Moves that damage from Dark Portal. BaRRaCCuDDa getting very, very low. Chapo into the back line. Can't quite find the kills. Uzzy looking for it with the Somersault Cloud. But this, again, forces Luminosity back. And here's where that sustain for Noble's composition starts to really be a problem.
I guess they don't know Gold Fury's respawned right now, and they could look to take it. They do, because they took the last one. Like, that was a prime Gold Fury.
That was the perfect time. Yeah, that is definitely...
forced to base. BaRRaCCuDDa forced to base. The only one coming back was Mask.
That's the sign of an inexperienced team right there. A tenured SPL team takes that Gold Fury and starts to really take control of the game. Luminosity, I think Luminosity figured they had it. Yeah, I really do. Just with so much pressure they had forced, a great engagement on that tier 1 tower middle, forcing multiple back, get the tower, and then you just kind of back. Got to get that stuff after the stuff.
Surprised by the back there. It's actually given wall placement to Luminosity now, so Noble, even though they win that engagement overall, get it themselves the gold lead for a little while. They don't get any extra for now, so it's back to farming again. And we can see how these fights are starting to unfold now. It's all down to Mask. Mask is the one initiating every single time. Chapo's kind of hanged back now and waiting for Mask to initiate, and then Noble are collapsing. So it's all on Mask initiation, trying to find the kill, or at least get away after trying to pick somebody up.
And you called it right away when it came to this draft for Noble. A lot of beads burners. You don't have the opportunity to both use your purification beads up against Fear No Evil and then the Fields of Love. And as long as Wowy and Elchapo are communicating with one another, letting each other know which ultimate is coming down when, they can really make an impact with those two giant ultimates that you really need beads for. Though now Jeff has picked up that sprint, so if he pops it at the right time, can immune some of those slows and make sure his team can get out of them, but it's still a little bit harder than it used to be in terms of that popping that sprint.
Still a similar pace from the whole of the day so far. I mean, Europe was the same sort of pace as this, and the first game was the same sort of pace as well. Just small battles, small windows of opportunity that turn into larger engagements overall as both teams collapse. But Noble looking to sneaky a Gold Fury right now. BaRRa's here with a Dark Portal available. Not going to steal it away this time, though. Noble will get it, and Wubbn is still safe right now.
On the right-hand side, Uzzy backs, then he does not have a teleport. Looks like he actually teleported into that fight. JeffHindla gets exploded. There's the Kraken, there's the Fields of Love as well. Dark Portal and I'm a Monster onto Wubbn, but he's still alive.
He is. Now the Whisper coming in, but Master on the back looking to clean him up. BaRRaCCuDDa's ticking down on health as Wowy chases him down the right. Wowy looking for the 1v1 and will find it. Baskin, meanwhile, is being chased down by MLC Stealth, but he's got 1 health so remaining, and Uzzy might be able to find him here. Instead, Uzzy's going to turn towards helping out Wowy, who's getting heals off his hearts. Scary wants to kill so very bad.
Not quite. He is going to be able to pick up Wowy, and Scary still able to escape along with Baskin.
They all get out 1 health.
So low, as is Mask. That's
how did they all get out?
Just very, very close in terms of damage. No penetration yet for MLC Stealth outside of his pen boots. The Gem of Isolation was huge in that team fight, but again, 2 big team fight ultimates used to pick off JeffHindla. I think that's the real difference maker there. Both Kraken and Fields of Love. Yes, they immediately knock down the support player, but then you don't have those big damage bursts to finish off these low health targets.
It's true, they did manage to escape with their lives just about, but now Luminosity get a small power play off that fight overall, because now they've got 4 members here. Paul Demon at half health. Uzzy is watching, looking to steal. Wubbn forced to walk in here to try and create room for his team. The portal goes the way of Luminosity, and JeffHindla is going to try and pressure Wubbn with LG on his tail.
Rooted in place. Scary going to find the knockup as well, directly into the root from Baskin. Wubbn hasn't been able to move. There's the Kraken. I'm a Monster, not quite enough to finish it off.
Alive.
Chapo able to find a kill. Wubbn finally falls to BaRRaCCuDDa. Scary juking for his life, can't quite find the heal. Chapo's going in, he looks for Baskin.
But Mask looks for Wowy, but Wowy turns it on his head, and Wowy will pick up Mask at the same time. And now you can see it's 2 for 3 in trade. Baskin alive again. Just about. The Portal Demon. The 2 carries of Luminosity are still alive for now.
So back and forth. Noble trading blows here with Luminosity, looking very, very close in this game. In fact, Noble still in the lead. 2,700 gold, 2,200 experience as well. Baskin has gotten out with a combined like 50 HP in the last 2 fights.
He is 2 levels behind right now, Baskin, in that mid lane. He's starting to struggle a little bit off the pace of this game, of finding the farm that he needs to. that's one of the things that you can fall into a trap of as a mid laner that inexperienced mid laners may find, where they're constantly looking for the fight, supporting their team, and not picking up the farm. And that's one of the reasons you saw BaRRaCCuDDa on the left earlier on, held the farm at even the back harpies, just so Baskin could try and catch up a little bit more now. Especially
because he's still lacking that penetration, still needs to find a little bit more damage in terms of that aspect of his build. And we've seen Wobbn get out very, very low multiple times up against that I'm a Monster. Baskin's able to find a reset in either of those scenarios. Luminosity probably wiped the team fight. Instead, Wobbn is able to survive thanks to the protections from Wisps, the shell as well, and just the fact that he's inherently pretty tanky. He's only 2 levels below Baskin.
Well, not too much healing to speak of there, but you can see the player damage. I would like to look at that again for the player damage aspect of things, just to see where everyone is. And you can see a couple of members of Noble at 10k right now. Mass a little bit further behind, 3,000 down on Chapo for the time being, as how this game has gone. But Baskin, even though we were saying like he's levels down, he's still up there on the damage charts.
Yeah, been on point with the crushes, the roots, and his positioning has been excellent. He's 1-0-4 up against multiple cripples like Noble have. It's difficult to play Scylla in some of these instances. He's positioned very, very well. And once he gets that penetration online and a couple more Book of Thoth stacks, I think he'll be in a great spot to make a big impact in team fights.
And Wowy on the left-hand side getting very confident in himself there. I think he actually just stole away the red buff. As you can see, it's still lying on the ground on the left-hand side of the map. Wowy's doing good work on the Cupid again. It's one of his comfort picks for the most part, but it's not necessarily a comfort pick in this meta these days. We saw him using Carb last week, so pretty much every hunter is viable in some way.
All the bees, man. Cupid wearing a bee costume, AMC, always a bee. Got a lot of
all the bees.
Busted bees.
There's 2 bees.
And they're both OP.
Well, 2 bees or not 2 bees, because that's BaRRaCCuDDa. He doesn't play bees right now. I think the fans would be very upset if he doesn't play bees.
Yeah, everyone always clamors for BaRRa to play AMC, and then exactly
Snoopy
now it's like Snoopy and BaRRa's still like
enemies from years gone by. That's the difference.
They were teammates not too long ago, though. Snoopy and BaRRaCCuDDa.
Still arch enemies, though.
Oh, are they?
Everyone's BaRRa's arch enemy when he's not on the team with them. You know that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, he says it himself. Like he's arch enemies with everybody who's not on his team.
That must be exhausting.
He was arch enemies with Baskin until Baskin joined the team.
Well, I'm glad they've gotten over that.
There you go. He's arch enemies with Stealth now, even though they're best friends.
It's true.
They're still arch enemies. It's just how it is. Gold Fury has just spawned, and you can see the Oracle is currently down, so the ward placement there is important, but nobody's actually got one just yet. The pace of the game has gone back to farming again, which I'm very surprised at. Generally, at this stage, you normally see group ups of teams, but everyone is a little bit worried about how far they are behind in farm in this game, so they just want to both weather the storm a little bit.
Well, this is the perfect time for Noble to take the team fight because Stealth has finished off his penetration. You can see Baskin just now backing. It looks like he'll be able to not quite finish off that Obsidian Shard, so Stealth going to be a little bit stronger in this team fight, level 18 as well. A couple more levels in his abilities compared to Baskin, and this next Gold Fury is going to be critical in this game. It's the one that could really catapult Noble to a pretty big lead that they can control the game with, or get Luminosity right back into a tie game.
I would like to see Jeff go a little bit more aggressive on the Sobek in terms of finding these plucks. I've not really seen him throw out these plucks looking to pick somebody off. He's kind of hanged back consistently here, waited for Master a little bit more scary to initiate. If Jeff goes in and finds a flux, that could turn the fight instantly.
Well, Uzzy looks to initiate onto BaRRaCCuDDa, immediately force up into that ult because of how much damage he is taking. Def looks for the pluck there on MLC, can't quite find it. There's the Kraken and the Wrath of Terra. Jeff gets erased immediately. Taunt onto Wowy, but a great Fear No Evil from Chapo. BaRRaCCuDDa has to use his Aegis.
And Wowy goes to the backline as well, looking for the pickup, and will pick up BaRRaCCuDDa. Scary trapped in the Whirlpool, is stunned in the Whirlpool by Uzzy as well. Looking for the Scary. Scary, I'm a monster hits too, but he doesn't swing as much as you'd like from his Scylla right now. Stealth will pick it up with the Trident, and Baskin will poke out a little bit more, but Noble can go for the Gold Fury here now.
Noble in control in this game. Baskin still has his Aegis, but needs to be careful here. No reason to be hanging around. This Gold Fury is gone. The way of Noble, the third one of the game. 24 minutes in, and Noble's up 6,000 gold.
Just want to apologize to JeffHindla for saying I'd like him to go for Flux more, because the moment he does is...
You jebaited. Yeah, jebaited.
I got him killed.
Yeah, you really did.
I did. I feel so bad.
It's all right, but we gave him credit for that pluck earlier,
We
right?
did. You know, we got one pluck that was good and one pluck that got it killed. And now the Portal Demon's going to go down the way of Noble, 12 to 8. Nice little play for them to rotate over here and recognize it was available and not let Luminosity get a small window of opportunity to try and even it up for the time being. Immediately, everyone going to fall back to base knowing they've got that portal. They don't have a ward down there though, but this ward's close enough to give vision of where Baskin is, so they don't have to worry too much about a dirty little ambush.
Oh, Chapo looks to blink in, trying to find Baskin. He doesn't have his purification, and Fear No Evil is up, trying to find him. Just catch him a little bit sleeping there on those top right harpies, but he knew it was coming. Fire Giant actually started up here by Noble. JeffHindla knows what's going on. Pluck off the mark there from Wubbn. Jeff and Uzzy just kind of hanging out in this jungle. A little bit of a dance here around the Fire Giant.
Patient little wait from Luminosity here. I'm surprised Noble don't look for a bit of a fight here. As the pause does come through, maybe that's one of the reasons we didn't see the fight, but I would love to have seen Noble try and be a little bit aggressive there for the simple reason they have that portal demon. They have the portal available.
Yeah.
They can take a trade, lose it a little bit, come back through, still use the portal if they do it in time.
That's very true, but with Elchapo's blink on cooldown, that they've really been relying on that to be the counter initiation for the majority of this game. Now, it looked like he did have the blink upgrade there. He'd spend that 500 gold to get that blink on a lower cooldown, so it is going to be possible for that to be up in the next engagement, but right now they have to wait a little bit.
Yeah, that's true indeed. We'll see what they can do going into the Fire Giant area now, because Noble do control the pace of the game right now, and most of this is down to Stealth and Chapo for me with their ultimates more often than not. Wowie's doing his own little thing, which is working out for them, but it's Chapo's ult and Stealth's ult that are really making the impact of making it a 4v5 in most scenarios.
And it's really been the Kraken just gobbling up JeffHindla in every single one of these fights so far early on, or even through the mid game right now. Jeff, 0, 5, and 3, only has that Heartward Amulet as far as magical protection goes, and with how hard Stealth is hitting with that Doom Orb and the Obsidian Shard, just no way for him to stay alive in these team fights if that Kraken's up.
Bit of a bait coming out from Noble here. Wubbn are definitely looking for the pulls if he can onto any sort of target, really. Stealth could easily in one shot one of them if they don't have the Aegis up and available, which only 2 members do for the time being. Fire Giant pulled as Uzzy is on zone work for the time being, taking a bit of aggression, but Scary's not interested in that. He's trying to close the gap on the Fire Giant.
That 72 transformations is on cooldown for Scary D. There's the Fear No Evil. They're looking at Scary, knocking him up. There's the Kraken as well, but he's still alive. No, Chapo finally able to finish him off.
Mask goes straight to the backline on Wowy, though, and Wowy's in a lot of trouble here. Dark Portal from BaRRaCCuDDa will pick him up as well. The spread does hit, but it's not enough as Mask is looking for an exit on stage right. Stealth though with a Whirlpool will slow that option down as Barra tries to buy time. Uzzy needed it, but the kiss was good. He'll still get it though in the end with the Master's Will. And Noble pick off 2 members of Luminosity, and now they head back towards the Fire Giant. BaRRaCCuDDa is lurking, but Barra does not have his ultimate here.
No, but he does have both of his relics. Chapo here with Uzzy, just trying to create a zone. With Wowy dead, it is going to be difficult for Noble to find the objective damage. Uzzy needs to be careful here. Barra is swinging. There's the meditation, but he baited Barra in. There's the cripple, and it gets the kill for MLC Stealth.
But the Fire Giant still stands, so Barra won't be too upset about that one for now, because his team still has a shot. Wubbn gets plucked by Jeff into Baskin. I'm a monster. Crush combo works. Didn't get a reset though, and Chapo immediately turns his attention to Baskin with the Fear No Evil, going to force the beat and the Aegis out again from Baskin, and Stealth cleans up JeffHindla.
Chapo pretty low here. Scary gonna maybe try and make chase, but I don't think he's gonna be able to close that gap in time. Uzzy having a much better game this time around, already level 20, along with both Stealth and Wowy hitting that level cap. 2-1 and 9 for the solo laner for Noble, and baiting BaRRaCCuDDa in there. Like you mentioned, it's good for Luminosity because Noble gets off that Fire Giant, but then it means that JeffHindla gets baited in. Then Baskin has to use both of his relics to stay alive up against Chapo, who's already going to have that ultimate off cooldown very soon.
Uzzy's going to get away from the danger field there of Luminosity's front line, as he was just looking to keep him busy for now. Look at the amount of wards down. It's like a Christmas tree for Noble right now around this Fire Giant pit. Uzzy back to his own work. Mass is coming in at level 17, still looking to pick targets like Wowy.
Pulled in. There's the stun from Uzzy as well. Mass gets knocked up. There's the Kraken, not even needed. Wubbn able to pick him up thanks to that pull.
Baskin round the left-hand side, though, got some good poke off on Chapo, but not enough to bring him down just yet. The Fire Giant attention paid from Noble. Once more, Scary D comes in, looking to keep an eye on it, realizing it's still above half.
Chapo is pretty low here, but does have the blink, does have the Fear No Evil. Immediately onto Baskin, just gets erased. Nice dark portal there from BaRRaCCuDDa.
Not enough to pick up a kill, though, and now with the Whirlpool down, Scary's in a lot of trouble. Overhand smash from Chapo misses. Jeff's zone work was fantastic, but he may be focused now instead.
There's the root, and there's the title surge. Stealth picks up his 7th kill of the game. So quick on that Poseidon with that Fatalis as well. Just such great chase down potential from all of Noble's composition. 3 dead for Luminosity. BaRRa again, no ultimate. I don't know if he's going to make the same mistake twice here.
Definitely a work in progress, Team Noble, but look at them progressing week 2 right now. Game 1, the start wasn't great, but the fights overall were fantastic. And now game 2 this week, Luminosity are on the back foot. The good news for Luminosity fans, though, there's a lot of towers that Noble have to shred down before they can start turning attention towards Phoenixes.
That is true, but again, that's also good news for Noble because that's guaranteed gold in their pockets with this Fire Giant that's going to allow them to get closer towards the full build. Stealth still needs his entire Rod of Tahuti. He hasn't even sold a starter item quite yet, and you can see Chapo working on what's probably going to be a Deathbringer as his 5th item.
Well, they're going to lose the Gold Fury here, Noble, by investing and waiting for the Portal Demon to spawn on the right-hand side. They'll get the Portal Demon in trade overall, which gets them back to mid lane a little bit sooner and allows them to be able to position again with the Fire Giant to try and siege a little bit more of these towers.
This means that if the tier 2 tower siege in middle goes horribly wrong very quickly, Noble could back and immediately use that portal, but it isn't up for very, very long.
That's
and
true.
With that tier 2 tower down on the right-hand side, it won't help them out at all to get to that tier 2 tower on the left.
Well, where do you expect them to go now? It looks like we can see them barreling towards the mid lane a little bit, but would you like to see them go left maybe for the tier 1, tier 2?
Yeah, I'd like middle and then to left lane, just a methodical sweep through the map. Again, guaranteeing themselves, what is that, 3,500 gold between all the towers, which would get you towards that Rod of Tahuti. Though it looks like Stealth, he might think this game is going to be over sooner rather than later. No Rod of Tahuti, instead going for the Spear of Desolation, finishing off his build, making sure he has every item already stacked up. A little bit of CDR, a little bit of additional penetration, good amount of power as well. I like this pickup. And then we also see a Flickering Ritual being picked up by Elchapo. He's been using that blink to engage. This would allow him to use that combat blink as a disengage.
So you can blink in, use your ultimate, in trouble, disengage out. You don't have to worry about your somersault then either. You can keep your somersault even on top of that. Tier 1 falls. BaRRa's on the right-hand side, going to split push a little bit as they do choose to surrender the tier 2 on the left-hand side. But I'm expecting they're going to need people back very soon if Noble realize where BaRRa was, and that's what they did. They're going to march on towards a Phoenix for a second or two at least.
Left Phoenix being sieged up here. This is the one that Noble really wants because it's farthest from that Fire Giant. Uzzy could eat that Sick'em Crush, but he's so tanky right now.
Good top from Scary, though. He's going to put a lot of pressure on. Kraken, however, deletes Mats from the fight. He's going to fall back to the base for the time being. JeffHindla gets hit by the Fatal Weevil, as does BaRRaCCuDDa. BaRRa gets some good damage off as well, as does Baskin, but it's not enough to stop Wowy going in the back lines and picking up BaRRa's life again, and Baskin's as well.
Baskin hit the Aegis, saves his life from the Heart Bomb, but it's not going to save this Phoenix Mask. Forced to jump away. All 5 members of Noble still alive. Not super healthy, but between the Fire Giant sustain and the double sustain between Cupid and Sylvanus, it's enough. All of Noble's going to be healthy by the time they reach this middle Phoenix.
And now they can start to siege middle stuff to extend the minions on the way as well. Fire Giant on 5 members as well still, and only 3 left standing of Luminosity.
Crush did a lot of work there for Baskin, but it wasn't that I'm a Monster that changed the game that they really needed, and it's going to be on cooldown for quite some time still. Middle Phoenix falls in favor of Noble, only 1 left standing for LG.
Well, only for a few seconds here. The minions might buy him an extra moment's time, but the Whirlpool and the damage from Stealth is monumental to force Mast out again. Uzzy can walk away. Noble going to play it very, very safe here. They're going to respect the respawns coming out from BaRRaCCuDDa and look to retreat, but they're going to be careful here, Luminosity, because you can get trapped around the corner with all these ultimates available on the Fire Giant.
Yeah, Luminosity, they have to be careful with that Fear No Evil from Chapo. There's the Kraken immediately onto Scary. Fear No Evil still being held. Mask around the back, though.
Looking to clean it up. Instead, he fall back to his troops as well. Uzzy down from the cloud. Gets Chapo to get a kill onto JeffHindla. Scary D out. Chapo going to be engaged on by Mask, but it's all a bait for the Fields of Love. Wowy gets a kill. Wowy is looking for another one on Baskin, but once again, Baskin will just slip the noose.
Left-hand side, those fire minions start pouring into this Titan room. Only Baskin and Scary D still alive. Baskin does have I'm a Monster. Noble just grouping up. I thought they were going to back there, but no, just healing up with that heals from Wubbn. This game is all on Baskin now. He's got to get a game-changing play with this I'm a Monster. It does one-shot Stealth, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Titan's falling too fast.
No, it is. Wowy's going to fall next as well, but the Titan's still alive for moments. Not enough moments, so Noble split with Luminosity?
Upset Central here today, man. Energy drop another game. They've got 3 losses, and now Luminosity, they drop a game to Noble as well. It's shaping up to be a very, very competitive Season 4 here.
It's only spring split, and it's only week 2 opening day of week 2 as well. It's still going back and forth. Taco is standing by to talk about that set in a little bit more detail for you all at home.
Thank you so much, Hindu. And yes, indeed, this is shaping up to be a pretty interesting split so far, especially considering that a lot of teams we weren't really anticipating to necessarily come out with splits or 2-0s are definitely finding their way in the start of this season. We see Noble biting back against Luminosity, which I'm sure a lot of you, if you're making your votes for those season tickets, probably wasn't expecting that. But at the same time, Noble is definitely a force to still be reckoned with. In game number 1, we saw Luminosity. They had a lot more map control. They had a lot more map presence. And I think a lot of that was due to the early snowball that ScaryD and Mask were able to secure for themselves. And honestly, they were pretty much turning up. ScaryD in particular on that Thanatos solo, doing his best to impress his senpai Variety from Worlds on his Thanatos. And it was just phenomenal gameplay overall from ScaryD, eluding the Kukulkan ultimate, securing the kill, getting the regen off of the Scythe, and then the silence to try and get his escape. But the most importantly, he had the jukes coming out strong, just non-stop. Uzzy unable to secure that kill, and then you had Baskin on the back line going ahead with JeffHindla ultimately combining to get ahead and give ScaryD the kill, which is pretty crucial. And then again, we see ScaryD just going absolutely ham on this Thanatos. Just scythe after scythe after scythe. There was absolutely nothing for Noble to do. They could not escape from this Thanatos, and ScaryD was looking pretty scary indeed. And overall, just phenomenal gameplay coming out from him. And right here again, we see him getting ready to step on the gas pedal. Goes ahead, picks up one onto Wubbn. The ultimate will go ahead and secure the execution onto Wowy. And then the Sunder for the style points onto Chapo, just going ahead and securing himself very cozy kills, as well as the team fight for the side of Luminosity. And overall, like I said, ScaryD and Mask were definitely forces to be reckoned with on the side of Luminosity. They just came together so well, but not to be left out, Noble went ahead and they fought back. They ensured themselves a very comfortable looking game number 2, in which it was a much cleaner Noble than what we've seen so far this split. I know that it's still early on into the season, but for Noble to go ahead and pick up a pretty important game off of Luminosity just goes to show the mechanical prowess that this team really has to display for themselves. They are definitely a very strong team once they get their synergy online, and the synergy is definitely what came through today for them on the side of Elchapo, Wowy, and MLC Stealth. Wowy and MLC and Chapo on this bots, you know, something about bots and junglers where they just really love to come in with the very dominant and controlling performances. He's going into the backline. Here we can see him actually saving MLC from the Scylla crush by CCing her through his ultimate, which ultimately led them to win that team fight. And again, Wowy just coming through with the Fields of Love. That Cupid was a force to be reckoned with, considering that he just non-stop cripple after cripple after cripple, and he was packing a punch with his autos as well. BaRRaCCuDDa with the chase down, unable to go ahead and sustain through it, Wowy finding himself coming out on top. And again, here towards the end of the game, we see Wowy coming out with that devastating Fields of Love and just absolutely no response from Luminosity, considering that they had complete control as long as that cripple was going through strong from the Cupid. And overall, just excellent gameplay coming out of the Hunter from Team Noble. Oh, I'm impressed, to say the least. I kind of expect Noble to go ahead and be able to show themselves as not necessarily a top contending team in comparison to a lot of these more veteran rosters, but the fact of the matter is they went ahead and they pulled through strong, finding themselves a very cozy split, which will be really important for the weeks to come. And ultimately, I think that it's just been an excellent game so far, but most importantly, we do have our Thursday night Smite match of the week coming in very soon for you guys, so make sure you go ahead and stay tuned because we're going to have Team Eager versus Flashpoint, and I know you guys are looking forward to seeing that matchup between Xenotronics and Zapman, so hopefully you guys stay tuned, and we'll be right back.